Hey guys, Ran here, and today I'm going to bring you two replays in the Ragnarok, and I'll actually be playing solo in these games. And the topic of these games is going to be about matchmaking, tanks that don't care about matchmaking, and then my thoughts on +1 -1, because it's actually making a reappearance again. It's been a lot of it recently. And we'll get over that over these couple of games. So the first game I'm going to be bottom tier against tier 10, second game I'm going to be top tier, and these were back-to-back games I played in the Ragnarok. Now, something else I want to mention is there's going to be no game sound in these replays, and that's because the two games you're about to see right now were actually played on the same day I did my T22 medium video, which I did all live commentary for you guys, and the audio was really shit and quiet. Well, when I went to go make the T22 medium video, I didn't have enough money for equipment, so I had to play some Ragnarok games for silver first. So I thought, you know what, I might as well do those live com as well, since I've got it set up for live commentary. And because of that, it means the audio on these is just like T22 medium audio, shit and quiet, so I've just got to do post-com for these. But the original video, I was actually doing live commentary. Now then, the Ragnarok, I'm going to start with tanks that don't care about matchmaking. The Ragnarok is definitely one of the tanks where, whether I'm top tier or fighting tier 10s, it doesn't matter. You can have good games relevant quite reliably. This tank is just that good. And actually, I've taken quite a defensive position to begin with, because it is assault mode. And even though it can deal with tier 10s, you still have to play correctly. It doesn't mean like I'm not going to go brawl with Naya 7. In the Ragnarok. I'm still like, you want to keep an eye on the map and follow your team, you want to stick in your high tier tanks and everything. But there are multiple vehicles in this game where I feel like just don't care about matchmaking. I'm not going to give any tier 9 examples because they only get +1, but the main examples are the Ragnarok, which doesn't care about tier 10s. The T-3485M is a tank where I genuinely don't mind fighting tier 8s. And then the two American heavies, the T-29 and the T-32, are not only tanks where I feel comfortable fighting +2, but the T-29 and T-32 were two tanks where I actively wanted to fight +2. So in the T-29, I wanted to see tier 9s, and in the T-32, I wanted to see tier 10s. The reason being that the tanks themselves were so good, in my opinion and for me, that when I was 3-marking them, and in the case of the T-32, I've actually got the T-32 at 100% mark of excellence. It's my favourite tier 8 heavy tank. None of you tell the KV5 I said that. But when there's higher tier tanks, there's more hit points, and that's going to obviously make getting your marks of excellence easier. And that's because, like, in the case of the T-29, T-32, they've got enough armor to work against them, and they're quite easy to play, because you just go hold down, and you're relatively safe, apart from artillery, obviously, but you can try and play around that. T-3045M is a medium tank, so you've got mobility to move around the map, you've got a really nice gun, that as long as you position yourself well, can really do damage against tier 8s. And it's that thing of these tanks that feel quite comfortable to use even in the bottom tier matchups. That I think it makes some people think that, you know, +2 -2 isn't that bad. Because a lot of people have been asking for +1 -1 to be a permanent thing, and there's a lot of hate for those people who say they like +2 -2. And the thing is, I'm one of those people who like +2 -2, but what I want to bear in mind is, this isn't a case of I enjoy the challenge. Granted, it does feel good when you come top 3 on damage in a bottom tier game. You know, it's quite a good little feeling that. You feel like you've really done well. But the reason I like +2 is, from my understanding, I could be wrong, feel free to correct me, you get more XP for shooting tanks that are higher tier than you. And obviously, if it's a tank that's 2 tiers higher, you get more XP than if you shoot a tank that's 1 tier higher. So I quite like +2 -2 just because I get more XP. Which makes grinding easier, makes getting X tankers easier. As an example, the LHMTV tier 8 British Light tank that I've been playing, I love that tank. I've been getting lots of tier 10 games recently, but I've been coming top of my team consistently. 1400, 1500, 1600 base XP on a consistent basis, even when I'm not doing that much. So, in the LHMTV, if I'm top tier, I might need to do 3,500 damage and a lot of assistance to get 1,500 XP. In a tier 10 game, I might only need to do 2,000 damage and some assistance to get the same amount of XP. So, do you see where I'm coming from, where I like the XP gain from fighting +2. Now, of course, there's going to be players who might not be as good at the game, who can't perform as well, and therefore don't get as much XP. But the thing I'm going to say is, just because I like the extra XP doesn't mean +2 -2 should always be a thing, because there's an easy fix around this. If Wargaming were to make +1 -1 permanent, all they have to do is make it so that shooting +1 tanks, which would be the worst case scenario in +1 -1, gives the same XP bonus as what shooting +2 does now, currently in the game. If they did that, so that I still got my good XP when in the worst case scenario, whether it be +2 -2 or +1 -1 if they changed it, I couldn't care or really give a shit if they put +1 -1 in the game. So what I said, the reason I like +2 -2, it's not for the challenge, it's for XP, but there's an easy fix around that. So bear in mind that when you see the argument of people saying they like +2 -2 because of the challenge, it's not just that. There are some actual reasons, and I think good reasons, that people want +2 -2, and I think the XP one is a good reason. Even though, as I said, I have just given a way to get round that. So that's pretty much it in terms of my thoughts on +1 -1 being a permanent thing. And the fact, I just thought I'd let you guys know, I'm one of those guys who likes +2 -2, and I don't think +1 -1 should be permanent as it is now. But buff the XP gain when shooting +1 tanks, and then I'll be fine with +1 -1 as a permanent thing. I couldn't actually care that much. Anyway, I've rambled on enough about that. This game's coming to a close. In this bottom tier game of mine, you will see the 4 other teammates of mine, while I'm trying to defend the base, have actually gone to the enemy spawn to, I don't know, do something. And what that means is, because there's 3 heavy tanks and a TD, bear in mind, one of the heavy tanks is a Kranwagen, so he's fairly fast. They're not going to get back in time, we're going to lose. Now, when you sort of bring up the map there, that's because, being a live commentary game, I was discussing the team and their positioning. But, you know, that was assault mode. Our team just went to the opposite side of the map in tanks that couldn't get back in time, and we lost because of it. But despite the matchmaking, despite the loss, I still had a good game. I played well. 3,200 damage, 263 kills, 230,000 profit in a defeat with worst case matchmaking, and I came second on damage on the team. So, around the matchmaking, I still had a good game. Now, the very next game is going to be on Sand River, which is a map that I don't really know if I like. I have good games on it fairly often, but, you know, I just many times have shite games. I never really know where to go. Because I used to go to the centre on Sand River, then all of a sudden, like, every time I went there, artillery would shit on me. But I don't really know where to go apart from the centre. I mean, there's the dunes, which you'll see in a moment, actually. I can't remember what spawn I got here, but I'll point them out to you when we get into the game. I think on the map of New Wargaming stuff, it's called the Dueling Dunes. Yeah, the Dueling Dunes over at C6. If I'm in like a T-29 or something with decent turret armor, I might go there. Alternatively, you could go down the southern side of the map, down that flank. And you can usually get a decent bit of spotting down there, and you can get some shots off because you can spot the people who tend to camp at the hill at the back. But in this scenario, being top tier, I'm going to risk the centre even with 2 artillery. I just have to be more aware that if I get spotted, I need to start moving. Now the good news for me is there's actually a Draugen coming up to the centre as well, but this game, what I want you to do is keep an eye on the map while we're playing this. It's going to be important to how I position myself. So we come to the centre, the Roger Dar's been spotted, I fire a shot, I do get spotted in return, and now I'm going to back up. Now I still have a couple shots, and I really just derped out in the last shot. It's not the final one, go for a reload, and you see I'm trying to keep myself, using these rocks to my left, hidden from that hill, because you've no idea who could have already got there. The Roger Dodger got spotted, but he's a heavy tank. Now I'm unspotted, I'm going to jump up again, hopefully not have to worry about artillery. The Roger Dodger's going to try again to get up. I don't know what he's thinking. That was quite a risky move in a Roger Dodger, to be fair. And I got the side shots on him, set him on fire, and I take him out the game. Now look at the map. Me and the Strong are fighting in the centre, and our team, I've sent a couple people up north, but most of them are sat down south near the artillery. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and help RTD, who's actually gone on a bit of a spotting run on the southern line that I was talking about, where I said you can tend to spot people, and, well, he has, but he's in a TD, so it's probably not going to end too well for him. Now, I do get a blind shot into that Chinese medium, and I hit him again, but now he's going to be in cover, and our TD is not long for this world. And he's dead. Now, I've had to ignore that because he's out of my line of sight. So now I'm going to try and focus on the middle. And really, I'm thinking about when I need to run. Because I'm going to need to run because the enemies basically have, or are slowly gaining full map control. And already they've only lost one tank. Now, what's happening is I see these guys coming towards us through the town, and I'm just waiting for them to break through the buildings. However, in the meantime, I don't want to waste too much time waiting for them, because that's time I could be using on the tanks in the centre. Now, shots are coming in from the sand dunes down south, so I've had to drop down. And now is the moment I've decided, with shots coming in from the sand dunes, and the one in the centre, and winning up north, I'm going to retreat a little bit. I'm going to fall back to this rock, and try and hold the centre and get shots in. Now, 65T, terrible shot by me. Tier 6 tank's going to come for a battle. He just looks at me and then decides not to bother. And I've got one more shell I want to fire off, and I pick up 2 quick kills there. Now, reloading. The only remaining teammates are down south near the artillery at base, and our one heavy tank is a little bit further out. Now I've just moved the minimap down to the bottom right, so you can tell when this game was a decent while ago. Sasuke's moving forward, and I'm going to tell you, I've made a mistake this game. Before 6.0, every game, my eyes could register the information easier, that I would open up the map, and I would look at all the tanks on the enemy team, and I would decide where I was going to go based on what kind of tanks they had. In 6.0, I don't do that as often, and it's harder for me to remember every tank they've got, because they've got a certain heavy tank that I don't even know is on their team. And that's going to be the good old Dreadnought, an old favourite of everyone's. I don't know they have a Dreadnought at this point, which means that when I'm poking out here, I get the surprise of my life when the Dreadnought comes out and he just slaps me in the side. So, that wasn't fun. And you're going to see I've actually been ammo racked at the moment and not noticed it just yet. Activate the food first, then the repair kit. And really, I'm not fancying this game at the moment. It's not looking too good for us. Now I've got 7 seconds to reload. The French heavy's coming for me. I can survive a shot. And I am going to reload in time before he does. I'm going to get 2 shots in, and I know I'm only get 1 more shot in because the Dreadnought's coming for me. And I can't really angle against him because he overmatches every part of my hull. That's the end for me. And in this game, what you're going to see is, and I'm going to lead this game playing, in the live commentary discussing the positioning of the team again. We have a light tank, top tier, Russian premium one. It's quite a good light. And it's not looking very good for our team at the moment. But on Sand River, in a light tank, he actually can carry this. And the reason I'm going to say that is, give it a few moments. The enemy light is going to kill himself ramming the artillery. I mean, the enemy team don't have a light tank anymore. And what that means is that the enemies only have heavies, a single medium, and 2 artillery. And the fact that they only have the 1 medium, which is the next best tank for trying to deal with light tanks, their light tank has a view range advantage. And when I say, I shouldn't say view range advantage, because he might not, but because Russian light tanks don't have the best view range, but he has the spotting advantage when you combine his view range with his camouflage. So if he can get some distance on a map like this and use his camouflage and view range to his advantage, he could quite reliably carry this, actually. Now I understand he might not be the best player, but what we're going to see is, as he's retreating, which is a nice thing to do, he's breaking off, trying to lose the spot on him. Artillery's trying to blind fire him, and one gets very close. He's retreating off. Now, what I thought at this point is that, okay, so even though he can potentially carry, he's given up on that, and he's going to go for damage on the artillery, which is fine. Like, you know, there are some times when you might feel the game is over, and you just want to get yourself some more damage, which is perfectly okay, and it's a perfectly legitimate thing to do. That's what I thought he was going to do. What's going to happen here is actually just going to stop and wait for a bit until the game's over. Which again is fine, I suppose, but I definitely would have tried to get myself a bit more damage on the artillery if it was me. But the whole point of this game is I had 2 back-to-back games, and I came top of my team XP-wise both games, or rather than I was bottom tier or top tier, and I came second on damage in the tier 10 game. So again, I personally don't mind +2 -2, although I would be fine with +1 -1 if they fixed the experience gain of it. So, thank you guys for listening to my rambling about matchmaking. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all in the next one.